So what's up people, and welcome to another Alita Battle Angel /GUNNM video. So in today's video I would like to cover the Berserker Body, mostly from a technical perspective. As we all know from the movie, although we didn't get a significant amount of exposure to the capabilities of the body, everything seems to imply that in any future movies that come out, this body will play a prominent role. And of course, from any comic reader will know that the Berserker Body is probably one of the top 5 to possibly even one of the top 3 most prominent bodies that comes out in the comic verse. So today I just wanted to cover the basic background of the technical aspects of this body. Now before I proceed, I would like to give my default spoiler alert. I'll try to minimize any potential spoilers by avoiding any plot points that are associated with this body that may come up in any future movies. And I'll try to keep it to the technical aspects of the body and maybe some historical aspects to how this body came about. But I will avoid how this body may be used in future storylines. I'll also avoid, some of the capabilities of this body that we haven't seen yet that are so, revealing that it may actually give too strong a clue to what may happen in the future. And I'll try to keep it to the basic capabilities of the body. However, if that is too revealing even by itself, then I would suggest that you turn off this video. And so as always, this is my default spoiler alert, and thank you very much, and please watch at your discretion. Okay, so the Berserker Body, as we saw in the movie, is quite the advanced body specifically designed for fighting, and even its base capabilities are quite advanced. It's quite strong, it's very fast, it's very agile, and also it's very accurate, as Alita mentioned to Hugo when she said with her new body, her sensory feedback mechanism was quite heightened. And this is quite interesting. I would say that if you were to compare her to a character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I would say that she would be close to Spider-Man. And that would make sense because Panzerkunst was never about brute strength. As you notice, when Nova took over Grushka's mind, he talked about Alita's attacks having nothing to do with strength, but about the mind, and that she was the master of Panzerkunst. As we know in any martial arts, it practices in focusing on specific weak spots and striking at those spots, such as the neck, or the solar plexus, or the knees. Now, typically those are illegal in sports types of competitions, but they're of course there in the martial arts because of the fact that typical martial arts started out as a fighting technique. And of course, Panzerkunst, being a military martial arts, would specifically be focused on taking down the opponent very quickly in a very deadly manner. And so the corresponding cybernetic body associated with any Panzerkunst master would need to be extremely strong, extremely agile, extremely fast, and of course extremely accurate. And so this body would of course be very suited to any Panzerkunst practitioner. And of course the reason for why this body is so well suited for battle can be understood when one looks at the unique, exclusive technology of the Berserker Body, which of course are the Berserker Cells. And as mentioned in my previous videos, the Berserker Cell was a unique technology that was developed by the Venus Republic. And the Venus Republic, according to the Battle Angel Alita comic verse, was well known for its advancement in 2 areas of science: genetic engineering and nanotechnology. And the Berserker Cells was one of their greatest discoveries by fusing the advantages of nanotechnology with genetic engineering. So what the Berserker Cell is basically a cybernetic, nanomachine, but in the structure of a kind of a living cell-like structure, like a human cell. And because of that, it takes the advantage of both the cybernetic capabilities of a machine as well as the biological capabilities of a cell. So when someone mentions that the Berserker Body is composed of Berserker Cells, what it means is that all the components that are in the Berserker body are built up from these cells. Now, this may be hard to understand. How can a robot body be built from cells? You see components such as actuators and sensors in there. So where are the cells? But if you think about it from a human body, this makes sense because all of our organs, such as the heart, the lungs, even our skeletal structure, came from the cellular base material. And so if you have a cybernetic equivalent of that, where it has a nanomachine-like capability, but at the same time it also has a design of a cellular structure, then it could take the capabilities that the cell has, such as, replicating and multiplying, as well as the nanomachine capabilities, which is to, move around and manufacture and repair things. Then you could have a very powerful cellular structure that can create some very advanced cybernetic entities. And I think the movie did really well in depicting the Berserker body, because if you look at her body, it is very different from all of the other cybernetic bodies that you see in the movie, in that it has a very organic feel to it. Her body looks like a combination between a cyborg and that of a human physiology. You see things that look like muscle tissue in the body. And so what it probably did is took the advantage of human physiology as well as the advantage of cybernetic and robotics, and took the best of both worlds and created a kind of an organic cybernetic hybrid to produce this Berserker body. And so now we come back to the discussion with regards to the accuracy of the Berserker body during battle and how it has such a complex communication network to be able to command that accuracy. Although this is speculation, I feel that it's because they are using the microscopic Berserker cells as its base building capability. And basically, in this era, they probably have some very advanced versions of data streaming and robotics control. But now they put it into a microscopic capability due to the nanomachines. And because they're in an organic structure of a cell, they could basically mimic the human neural network to create the communication pathways for this Berserker body. Now, of course, the human neural network is extremely advanced. Now, why a typical robot can't do that is because the conventional manufacturing techniques are not advanced enough to be able to create something that sophisticated in a robot's body. However, since they're using the Berserker cells and since it's nanomachines, they basically have an ultimate form of additive manufacturing. Or another way of saying it is those 3D printer manufacturing that's becoming popular these days. They basically have an ultimate form of that. And they don't even need a 3D printer because the Berserker cells act as the manufacturing medium and actually creates from the inside all of the components that are necessary in the Berserker body. So by doing so, the developers of the Berserker body were able to maximize the capabilities of designing some of the most sophisticated architecture for robotics inside this Berserker body, and that is why this Berserker body is so advanced even at its base capabilities. At least that is my speculation. And so this brings us to one of the more advanced capabilities that is unique to the Berserker body, which is its regenerative and adaptive capabilities that comes from the Berserker cells. And so since the Berserker cell provides the additive manufacturing capability or the self-building capability of this body, so long as it has material and so long as it has power, it basically can regenerate any damaged area in the body. And we saw that, of course, in the movie in two areas. The first time is when the body adapted itself to the subconscious structure of what Alita thought of as her body. And the second time was when it repaired an injury that was caused by Gruishka's grind cutters to her ribcage area. And so all of this capability is only possible because the Berserker cell is available in the Berserker body. And my speculation, although again, this is speculation, is that in each of these Berserker cells is imprinted the basic design of the Berserker body, how the Berserker's body is supposed to be built. And then, of course, based upon the subconscious creation of each person's body, that basic design is modified to accommodate the structure of that person's subconscious, shape of their own body. And the Berserker cells constantly check out the body to ensure that the Berserker body is in running condition. And if there's ever a deviation, such as from a damage, then the Berserker cells will go into action and rebuild that part of the body back to what it's supposed to be. And that, of course, makes this body extremely tanky and advantageous in even the basic capabilities. It makes it, of course, more durable because of the fact that no matter how much damage it takes, so long as it has power and so long as it has material, it could recreate itself again. And also, it basically gives the user of that body, such as Alita, the advantage to really stress that body out, basically run it to its maximum potential, because any damage that it obtains from, for example, hitting too hard or running too fast can be immediately repaired by the Berserker cells. So this takes the body's capabilities far beyond the capabilities of a typical cyborg body having similar sorts of mechanical structures. Now in the comic, we've seen that the repair capabilities of the Berserker cells are strong enough that even if she gets a whole limb, such as an arm or a leg, blown off, in time they could grow right back due to the repair capabilities of the Berserker cells. And how they do this, according to the comic, is that since they are nanomachines and not just cells, the nanomachines will go out and start collecting material from the surrounding area to rebuild that body back to the way it was. And because of that, it can go beyond the standard repair capabilities of a human body and completely repair it back to the original condition without anything like scar tissues or any problems that you would normally see from a human body. And so, of course, one of the things that probably comes to mind is if Alita ever gets her arm or leg blown off, then the best thing to do is probably not to guard her by sitting too close to her, because of the fact that if you fall asleep, the nanomachines may think you are a perfect raw material for her and start consuming your body to actually repair hers. And by the time you wake up, she may have a perfectly repaired arm, but you may find that your arm may be missing from that. So yeah, that is a scary thought. Now, the one final unique capability of the Berserker body is its electroplasma control capabilities. And this is not really from the Berserker Cell, but is probably a design that's specifically designed into the Berserker body's blueprints. And although in the comic, it was mildly shown that the plasma control can come out from other areas of the body, she typically produces that plasma from her fingertips. So the basic robotic design of that blueprint seems to indicate that the plasma control exit ports are on the tips of her fingers. And because she can create those types of plasma charge, her fingertips has the ability to ablate material, or basically her fingers become the equivalent of little tiny lightsabers. Now in the comics, she typically used them like electroplasma claws to be able to cut through material, the way Lady Deathstrike uses her adamantium fingernails. But in the movie, of course, she went one step further by using the electroplasma energy to charge up her Damascus blade and use the Damascus blade as an amplified version of the capabilities that come from her fingertips, which I thought was a very creative idea. So now if you want to think about it in Western comic standards, how strong is Alita? Well, basically she has the capabilities of speed, strength, and agility similar to Spider-Man, but in addition has the healing and plasma cutting capabilities similar to Lady Deathstrike. And on top of that, she has the extreme advanced fighting martial arts techniques of Panzerkunst, which may be comparable to the fighting capabilities of Batman or Black Panther. So if you take Spider-Man, Lady Deathstrike, and Black Panther together and put them all in one person, then you may get somebody that has the capabilities like Alita. Now, one final note, although the Berserker cells are somewhat like living cells, they are not sentient in itself. Now, I've heard some people, including myself, I've kind of sometimes mentioned for ease of explanation, that her Berserker body is a cybernetic equivalent of the Venom symbiote, but it actually isn't because of the fact that, of course, the Venom symbiote is a sentient being, whereas the Berserker cells are just living cells without sentience. And the sentience comes from actually the brain of the host, which in this case is Alita. And so it basically stays dormant until the host is attached. And once it's attached, it basically takes commands directly from the host, which of course is different from the Venom symbiote, which has a will of its own. Now, there is at least one other capability that goes beyond the capabilities that we discussed here in this video. However, I don't want to go talk about any additional capabilities because they may cause spoilers in any of the future storyline, including something as early as stuff that may come out in the next movie, if there is going to be a next movie. So I won't go into it to avoid spoilers, and I will ask all the people who watch this video and who comment below, anybody who has read the comic and understands some of the additional capabilities of the Berserker Body, please refrain from talking about it because of the fact that I do not want any of the people who have only watched the movie to end up being spoiled reading the comment section. So I thank you in advance for that. And in any case, that's about it for this video. I hope you found it somewhat useful. And thank you very much for watching all the way to this point. I'll continue to make more Alita Battle Angel / Battle Angel Alita / GUNNM videos in the future. And if I do so, I hope you join us at that time. If you have any comments, please post them in the comment section below. And until the next video, happy Alita movie watching, happy GUNNM comic reading, happy Battle Angel Alita comic reading, happy Battle Angel OVA watching, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.